Today is Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of the finale of Survivor Ghost Island.
It's finally here. This episode was titled It's Game Time, Kids. That was spoken by Dominic. He gets yet another title of the episode.
He did. I wondered if it was foreshadowing.
Yeah? Well, he did get a winner's edit after all, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so Probst welcomes us to the finale as he does a little bit of recap. We get to see the early boots, which is conspicuously missing a castaway. Stephanie J. was not there in the early boot section for some reason.
And they never even mentioned that she wasn't there.
So she passed up on $10,000. I hope she had something that paid a lot better.
Well, maybe she had some big life event or something, so.
Yeah, hopefully nothing bad going on.
Yeah.
And then we got to see the jury as it stood heading into the finale, and then a quick look at the final six. It looked like Dominic and Wendell were wearing the same jacket, although Wendell spiffed his up a little with what I now know is a pocket square, thanks to my experience with choir.
That's right. Mm-hmm. You've been educated.
Educated, yes. Yep. They have us wear those when we perform, too. Splash of red.
Okay, out of context for 1 second, just how did you feel about everything?
How did I feel about everything?
The finale. Yeah, the winner.
Just overall, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess overall it was okay. It's not... There's a first time ever event that happens, so that's pretty special.
That's very special.
Yep. So I guess there's that. Did this finale redeem this season for me? Nope, not in the least.
Yeah, because the whole thing just... and they pushed it to the very end, but oh well.
Yeah, it went flat after the merge, even though we held on to hope for quite a while. And then this didn't really rescue it, in my opinion. But you know what Probe said, coming back around and getting back on track here in a temporal recap, as he mentioned that they were live with the audience. He told us that Ghost Island was embraced by fans, and he knows that to be a fact because of the ratings. Yeah, I'm not really ready to go that far.
We love Survivor, Jeff, in spite of
your ideas that goof things up. Yeah, and waste our emotional investment in the show. You squandered some of that with this season.
Well, at least they keep trying.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I don't want to give up my Survivor, so okay, thank you anyway.
Yeah.
Even if the thing was a bust.
Yeah, by far, this was still of the shows that we watch, this is still head and shoulders above the others. But I feel like it's perfectly okay to be disappointed by, as long as you don't go down that rabbit hole too far, I feel like it's okay to have higher expectations of the show because we've seen so many times how great it can be, and there was something that there was like a sour flat note for this one for sure. He thinks it's just a roaring success, and there's I'll link to it. Dalton Ross did an interview with Probst and I just blanked on his name, creator of the show. Mark Burnett. Yeah, it came back to me. So with Probst and Mark Burnett, and you get some insight into just how much control and oversight that Probst has and has had, evidently, for quite some time now. I don't know if they're rewriting history a little bit or whatever, but Mark Burnett makes it sound like he handed over the reins to the show to Probst about 8-9 seasons in, something like that, and said, it's all yours. And he's not one to micromanage. So in any case, when we're looking at these things and I'm trying to figure out, hey, who's making these decisions or how did we go wrong? And I hear Probst say that this was a roaring success and will certainly bring back elements of Ghost Island. I think, yeah, this is really all on his shoulders. So he's the one who made this call. It's not actually anyone else. Anyway, I thought it was an enlightening interview that he did before the finale there, so it's worth a read. Take a look. Okay, so Probst is in a hurry to get started because he knows kids are watching and he doesn't want them to have to stay up too late.
And they only have so much time anyway, so there you go.
Well, and they're continuing something that they did this a little before. They're going to steal time from the reunion show. They're going in with 6, and they're gonna, and it's quite a bit of time. I don't remember it being this extensive before.
Yeah, you said it was like a half an hour.
Yes, the reunion show basically started at the half-hour mark for the last hour of the show.
Well, maybe it's because a lot of people weren't enjoying the reunion show as much. You know, they weren't talking to the
We'll
people.
talk more about it when we get there. Yeah, I think there's definitely something there. So we start recapping the players. 35 days ago, 20 Americans started in the greatest social experiment, Probst tells us. And then we get a recap of the players. Sebastian, he plays with his heart, and he's ready to make his first big strategic move. 35 days in, and he's ready to go. All right. Donathan, he's been a fish out of water, but he's adaptive, and he's there to drop truth bombs, and he's part of this big 4. I'm not too keen on either one of their characterizations so far. I'm sure that's obvious. And Laurel's developed strong bonds across the tribal boundaries, and she's going to decide if she's going to stick with it or cut ties, which is the same indecisive disappointment that we've had from her all along. So that's a pretty fair characterization, huh? And Angela has been outside of nearly every vote, he tells us. But maybe, just maybe, she's ready to be a swing vote now. Wendell's laid...
Go, Angela.
Wendell's laid back, but he's got a clever social game, and he's sitting on a hidden immunity idol, and he's ready for a slug fight. Not a slug fest, but a slug fight, which is gather up snails and have them battle it out.
Okay.
And Dominic is brash but electric, and he's got both a real and a fake idol that he can work with.
That's a long recap.
And there's one more trip to go to Ghost Island, except it's not really what you think it is. Okay, night 35, they're coming back from that tribal council, and Sebastian says, well, that was really fun.
And Donathan went bananas.
Yeah, according to Dominic, right?
And Laurel tells Donathan, you almost voted yourself out of the game.
But Donathan is confident that he's done blowed up their game, which he did not have a clue. He's officially, we can say it, he's there, even at this point, even though there's more to be done here. He reached bless his heart status at the finale, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it finally, all the stress and everything finally got to him.
The full depth of his lack of awareness in terms of what was going on and how he was playing.
Super, super paranoid. Mm-hmm. And I can't blame him. A lot of people get that way at the end like that. But I think they gave him every opportunity to pull back into the fold. But, you know, he was just so out there and so sure about things, he just couldn't see it.
Well, he was convinced, that he wasn't going to get anything from Laurel, so it was up to him to truth bomb his way to the win.
And Wendell and Dominic tell us if they win the challenge, Sebastian might just be out.
Yeah, and Laurel was there for that, too.
Ooh, and I was like, yes. I had Sebastian going first.
Yeah, I had Donathan going. I figured they were going to be pretty tired of him.
I thought so, too. But, you know, you and I talked about it this week, and I just kept getting a weird feeling that Sebastian was going next. And yet, I'd gotten that feeling last week, too, and that's why I put him. And it didn't happen, but I still thought it was going to happen.
You call it a weird feeling, but you were pretty convinced that it had something to do with his relationship with Jenna and that he needed time with her at Ponderosa. So I don't know how weird that was.
I think that's affecting how I'm thinking.
Skewed your perspective.
Knowing that they had a relationship was affecting where I thought he would, go out.
But you didn't know when it began.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Still don't.
Okay.
But I do think it was affecting the way I was thinking about it. And because otherwise I don't know why I was just so sure.
Yep, Wendell tells us that Sebastian has indeed played a clean, fair game, and that means he's a threat to win.
And Angela thought so too. I never really saw that, but I don't think we saw a lot of, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's definitely
that
been
would have really been
our
surprising
concern
to me.
that those things had been hidden.
Okay, and bam, immunity challenge number 1.
What did you think about this maze?
That was big.
The biggest maze that they've ever built for a Survivor challenge. Very cool.
They had to collect the bags and solve the puzzle.
At least 2 firsts. Yeah, and as is the case, there's a puzzle there, and it's an interesting puzzle too, in that you have to build it up, and there are some pieces to get you started, but there are, I don't know, it's pretty interesting. We've seen them do flames before, but they were basically doing the Ghost Island logo, so it had a nice arch to it, and so it could be precarious if you weren't careful. If you didn't have the pieces clicked in very well, they could fall over.
And there was a reward.
Yep. Do you like Prope's joke? Big steaks for the steak dinner? Well, he seemed to be pretty pleased with himself.
I know. How'd you guys like that?
Okay, so they got to go get 3 bags of puzzle pieces. And Sebastian, Laurel, Angela, Wendell, they all seem to be doing pretty good. Dominic is struggling, and Donathan is really struggling.
Donathan got lost right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So he just couldn't catch up. Though I don't know if he would have done that well in the puzzle anyway, but...
Sebastian, Wendell, and Laurel continue to do well. They get to their 3rd station, and Dominic and Donathan are still struggling there. And then, before you know it, Sebastian and Laurel and Wendell are all working on the puzzle.
And
Donathan's lost in the maze. Hadn't found his 3rd bag yet. Yeah.
And Wendell wins.
Yeah, you could see Sebastian getting frustrated as Wendell got closer and closer.
Were you surprised at who he took for the reward?
I didn't. I guess I didn't see that coming. I thought he would just stay along those lines. So when he picked Sebastian and said he was repaying the favor, and then he picked Angela.
Oh, because he picked him for the family. Okay.
Yeah, and then he picked Angela because she hadn't been on any rewards. She hadn't gotten anything lately. So that really surprised me, but it surprised Laurel
really
even more.
Angered Laurel.
Yeah, we got a good eye roll from her, and she tells us that was purely strategic move on his part, and she's upset.
Yeah.
And she tells us in a confessional that Wendell has taken my 2 biggest enemies left in the game on this reward. The gloves are off now, she tells us.
Well, maybe Wendell just didn't want to...
Always empty threats from Laurel.
Didn't want Dom and Laurel plotting with the other 2 people. Maybe that's his way of keeping them, I don't know, his idea of keeping them away from those 2. But he could have taken them with him and made them happy and achieved the same thing. So I really don't understand it.
They get back to camp. Dominic congratulates Wendell on his first victory. And Sebastian is, well, he's bum-puzzled at how puzzles get completed so fast. He doesn't get it. A little bit frustrated. So Wendell, Sebastian, and Angela go to have their steak feast. And Wendell tells them it looks like this is an easy vote for Donathan. And Sebastian and Angela, they both agree, yeah, we really like the guy, or like the kid as Sebastian refers to him. But they're not fond of his gameplay right now. So he's definitely alienating people.
Is Sebastian any older than Donathan?
Probably
He's like 22,
not.
right?
Yeah, probably
not.
So
that's kind of odd that he calls him a kid.
Well, he's little, and he's just finding his way in the world. So he's kid-like, I guess, in that
Okay. Well,
respect.
That's probably very true.
Whereas Sebastian's, he's world-wise as a fisherman and a beach bum.
And obviously, Sebastian has told Angela that he has an extra vote. But he hasn't told Dominic. Probably or Wendell either. So, but who does Angela tell? Dominic.
Yeah, and then in the meantime there, Dominic's got to do some damage control with Laurel, because while they're having the feast, Laurel's having a fit.
Blow off some anger.
She's
girl.
telling Dominic, I don't understand why he would take Sebastian, who we're going to vote out tonight, or Angela, who I need to beat at the next challenge. Why is he making decisions on
her?
Garnering goodwill at this point? Dominic tells us in a confessional that he agrees with her, but then he's trying to calm her down. So, hey, we got to keep the wheels on the cart.
Is he courting the jury, right?
Yeah.
I think they both might have voted for him. So, was it really a waste? Was it strategic in his own way? Maybe. Maybe he was that confident of Dom and
Jonathan
Laurel.
Tells Sebastian that Dominic and Wendell aren't talking to him, so he's pretty sure it's him. And that's when, like you were saying, that Sebastian shares with Jonathan that he's got an advantage. Oh, and Angela's there too.
Yeah,
and hey, let's throw some votes on Dominic's way. We don't even need Laurel because I've got this advantage.
Yep.
Angela's thrilled. She's in the know, which means she's got power. And that's right. That's where, like you were referring to,
she could have had power.
She squeaks right over to Dominic and tells him what's going on. Well, she wants to tease him a little right now. Dominic can tell something's up because of how she's acting, and she's trying to be a little coy, and then she just spits it out.
Well, I do think it got her a little further in the game, and got her a few more bucks. So.
Yeah,
okay.
She tells Dominic straight up, Sebastian's got an extra vote advantage, and he's gunning for you.
And they're throwing them your way.
Dominic tells us in an aside in a confessional, thank goodness that Angela has diarrhea of the mouth, that she can't contain herself.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that wasn't very nice, talking about somebody who just saved your behind.
She has to blurt things out, which tells you exactly what his assessment of her in the context of the game is.
And so he tells her to be sure to vote for Sebastian.
Angela says, oh, yeah, and he thinks you only have one idol, so...
And Laurel thinks maybe she needs to flip. Of course, Laurel's thought that every week.
We just get to hear her say this over and over again without doing anything.
It's like me trying to decide whether or not to keep a 24-point USB if they're still in the game. It's like, oh, shut up, you're going to keep them, you know you will.
Angela's not the only squealer. Jonathan runs to Laurel and tells her, hey, Sebastian's got 2 votes. We're going to target Dominic. And Dominic goes to Wendell after he comes back from the steak dinner there and says, hey, Sebastian's got 2 votes and he's coming for me. So I think they did some strategizing right there and worked up the plan, don't you? That's where it came. That's where they came up with it. And Dominic tells us right before they go to tribal council in a confessional that he's going to try to save that idol, the real idol that he's got. So
yeah,
it's hoping he didn't have to play it, but he'll be ready to.
And if he makes the wrong decision, it's game over. So I thought, wow, would he really play the fake idol? I was kind of thinking that was a little nuts. It was very risky. So, all right, good on you, Dom.
Headed into tribal council there on night 36. Kellen's got a smile and a wave for him as she comes in and takes her new place in the jury. And Laurel answers Probst and said, yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and we're building up to either a big move or maybe a smart move.
And it's good to make big moves, but they have to be the right moves.
And Jonathan said, no pressure on me.
Nobody talks to me.
No one talked to me, so I'm pretty sure I'm going.
So it's probably me.
Sebastian, not missing a beat, says, yep, there's a good chance Jonathan's going.
Good chance, Jeff. This week, Jonathan's correct.
But Dominic, he's not buying it at all.
Well, yeah, I was a little bit surprised that he actually revealed that to Sebastian and that he knew he had 2 votes.
I think this is a pretty well thought out plan.
Obviously.
So this is, you want something big and brash, wow, this is it right here. So I think this is really one of the highlights of the finale, the way he played this out. So Dominic unloads on him, and he's like, Sebastian, so you don't have an extra vote, and you're not coming for me? Is that what you're going to say? And Dominic tells us that he's just ready to blow the tribal council up. Sebastian He just owns it right away. Yep, I've got an extra vote. Yep, I was thinking about voting for you.
Well, and Dominic, being very bold and saying that I'm not going anywhere.
Right. As Donathan has noted before, their pockets are loaded. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, they start whipping things out to back it up. Because that's when somebody goes, oh, they don't have everything they're saying, or they'd pull it out. Well, they pulled it out.
Yep. So real idols and fake idols come out on display. Donathan's telling us, well, he doesn't regret what he's done, and that he's trying to play his own game, but he's not faring well in this exchange at all.
Well, Dominic's like, I have never lied to you, Dominic, and we've been aligned since day 10.
And Dominic tells Donathan, you had an easy path to the Final Four, which that should have worried Sebastian and Angela a little bit, don't you think?
Well, he did say had.
Yeah.
But you blew it, so I think Donathan was just sure it was him.
Wendell's in on the fix, so it's a pretty good con that Dominic's come up. I guess it's Dominic. I don't know exactly who came up with it. Dominic takes credit for it, so we'll give him credit for it.
I wonder in this area if there was something we missed because, they started talking about the intimidation. And, Wendell piped up and said, it's not intimidation. And then the jury, I'm going to bring this up, even though it happened later. This is the thing they were so angry at Dom about. And I didn't get that, why they were angry about that. Because I think this was, I thought it was a risky, very risky move, but bold, but I don't think it went against anyone as far as was mean or...
It did get aggressive. We get the bro off. There was definitely a bro off that took place at this point, so there is aggression on display. Wendell brings out what he says are two idols. And Dominic takes his fake idol over to Probst and gives it to him.
Early.
Without saying anything. Yeah, it's not time. The votes haven't been cast. But this is all part of the bluff, and it's just masterful. This part was really good. I'm
just going to go right ahead and give this to you, Jeff.
Right. Put that. I'm going to hold on to this. Now, I'm going to hold on to the paper explaining it. But this idol's being played.
I was holding my breath, going, is Probst going to say anything like, this is not an idol? And you said, no, he can't say that till at least after the vote. So
right, when it's time to play idols.
Oh.
So again, that was calculated. Seemed really brilliant.
But you never know. Jeff might have.
Because he implicitly, people would infer, given that he didn't say that it must be real. It was all part of the con. Knowing that Probst isn't going to say anything until later, they took advantage of this. Yeah, very smart. Enjoyed this part quite a bit.
Well, and Jeff asked Laurel, well, do you think the plan is still in the works? And we weren't sure at this point for sure if Laurel was going with the other people or if she was staying with her guys.
She looked over at Donathan and Sebastian, but they weren't making eye contact with her.
But she said, yes, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody votes, after which Dominic stands up, goes over, and reveals that this is not a real idol.
I think this is the two punch. The one punch was the setup and all the blustering and the bros and the posturing that took place with Dominic and Wendell on the con. And now he comes for the two punch, which was, guess what, jugheads? It was fake. And so that seemed, I guess, a little too rough.
Well, the thing is that it could have come back to bite him because he didn't know yet how they really voted.
Right.
Whether he stopped them or not.
Right. It's part of his theatrics. If you're gonna do this is how you do it.
If they went ahead with it, Dom, you do not have the last laugh. But he did it well and it worked. Sebastian didn't even play his extra vote. So
Dominic got one vote. Donathan got one vote. One vote comes in for Sebastian. 2, 3, and he's gone. Yeah. At which point Sebastian tells us it was truly a pleasure. There was Sebastian's whole game right there.
It was so much
fun. It was in his pocket. Yeah, he was there to have fun. He wasn't playing.
So he went home with his extra vote.
Yeah. And Sebastian tells us in his quick confessional after the vote, I'm so stupid. To which I heartily agree.
Well, at least he told Dominic, you're a good actor. I bought it. Then Jeff brings out James and Eric at the finale.
Yep.
It was like, okay.
Tells us these are where the dumb moves originated. It really, here's the core, the foundation of dumbest moves in Survivor history. And he promises or hints at an apology that he...
Which never really happened.
Off.
But, okay. He said he was going to apologize.
Okay, day 37, immunity challenge. We're just going back to back. We got days and we got people we got to get out of here. We got to fill that jury out.
And this time, a 4-piece puzzle pyramid.
Okay, so they got to swim to a platform. They got to climb up the back of a slide down, get these puzzle pieces and some obstacle courses where they go over. Yeah. And then, 4-piece puzzle, which doesn't sound complicated, but then you see how it comes together.
Yeah,
those you realize,
are, though.
Wow, yeah, that's
usually
quite
something
the challenge,
that not everybody can see when they look at it.
Yeah, if you don't have good spatial reasoning, that's going to really hurt you. You know who may have good spatial reasoning? Someone who's used to building furniture.
Oh, okay.
Putting things together in 3 dimensions and envisioning that and...
Well,
working with joints and how things come together, the way things do in puzzles.
It wasn't even easy for Wendell.
Yeah, very challenging.
I can't speak.
Wendell ends up being the first one to start on the puzzle. They all eventually get there, even though Angela's the last one, but they're all working on it.
Jonathan got there ahead of Dominic, didn't he?
Yes, pretty sure. Yeah, he did.
And you saw Dominic looking over at the others like, anybody got any ideas?
He says something afterwards that's really good. We got to come back to. But yeah, Wendell ends up winning. Laurel curses
again
a little bit. Yeah, so back-to-back wins for Wendell. He's building, in terms of immunity wins, he's definitely filling out his resume here at the end. So he's got individual immunity and a hidden immunity idol. And he's wondering if it's time to target Dominic, even though he knows Dominic has an idol.
Yeah, and
this is the last time he can play it.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I don't know. It's just something to say. Maybe it's something to say more than anything.
Why would he say that when he knows he's got an idol?
Okay, so they're back at camp. They can talk again. Everyone says, good job, Wendell. All right. And Dominic congratulates Wendell for catching up to him. So they both have 2 immunity wins.
Have 2 wins.
And Dominic tells us he was just so sure the puzzle had a flat top. Probst told you it was a pyramid. What were you doing? Okay, all right.
Pyramids don't have flat tops.
Well, they do if you knock the top off of them, I guess. But that was just such an odd thing for him to say. Really? Then
that tells us he was never solving it.
He wasn't close.
Ever.
Yeah. His 3-dimensional spatial reasoning was trying to fit something that was never going to fit, for sure.
And he's trying to figure out what makes sense for him going into the Final 4.
Angela's not a threat, and Jonathan's an easy vote.
So, Dominic still approaches Jonathan, not giving up, still getting information, and
this is always the right thing to do. You keep doors
open. The door.
Yeah, and
if you win the Final 4 challenge, who are you taking?
Without missing a beat, Jonathan says, "Well, I take you.
I want to go up against the best. You
got to beat the best." Dominic wasn't buying it though. He said those kind of snap calls are usually bluffs. So maybe Dominic is that rare exception. He wasn't billed as a poker player, but because he's got all that poker playing history and the gambling history that he told us about, that was part of his backstory coming into the season, it has offered some benefit. He said when someone snaps out like that, it's a bluff more times than not.
Well, and then he starts talking about, Laurel's really the bigger threat over Jonathan and Angela. They haven't won anything, and Laurel has. Yep. So we should just take out Laurel. And I'm thinking, wonder how she was feeling while she was watching it.
Yeah.
She was probably punching somebody on the arm.
Back in the green room, yeah.
Like, what are you saying?
Yeah. Her spidey sense was tingling. She said that she felt exposed. And talks to him again about how being there and her only chance to win is to split votes, and then somehow she gets the scraps, and that's how she wins.
Guys, that's the way it would have been if the Malolo 4 that was on the jury had voted for her, and Dominic and Wendell had a 3-3 tie. Laurel wins. So I'm sure she'd figured all that out. But
Dominic's not buying it. He says she's full of it. and he and Wendell are still strategizing together. And Wendell says, you know what? I'll let go of her. I can totally do that. Which, that's a good one to come back
now,
to as we get towards the end.
Arm.
Yeah. And Wendell's wondering how he could best use Eric's idol to shift the jury in his favor. That's definitely the question you got to be asking yourself.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I'm not sure Wendell wasn't just saying that for Dominic, that he would be willing to vote out Laurel.
He said it before. It's not the first time.
No, but, his actions certainly didn't.
Right, he was trying to figure out how to best utilize the idol. Okay, so tribal council there, night 37.
He's looking on ahead to his future.
Laurel answers Prope's first question and said, yes, indeed, there's lots of pressure. All three of us are on the line here.
Jeff reminds everyone that if you're on the bottom at the next tribal council, you at least get to do a fire challenge. You think he was just reminding, better practice your fire making.
Angela tells us that it's Dom and Wendell making all the decisions here.
Yep, and the girls have had immunity wins. I haven't. Take me to the final.
You're saying Donathan. Yeah, I was talking about Dominic and Wendell there. Sorry. Yeah, Donathan's pitch is that I suck. So, yeah, you should really take me. Yep.
I'm no threat.
And he repeats it.
Yeah, I think he did the right thing.
Dominic tells us his mind's not made up. And Wendell talks about how he's got Eric's cursed idol that he can play or save. He's trying to figure out what to do with it. Dominic said, yep, he holds the power.
Well, and I like Wendell saying that, Dominic and I have been together and all of that, but he doesn't know what I'm doing.
Right.
We don't tell each other everything, y'all. And Donathan tells us it's all about getting himself to the final three.
It's down to the nitty-gritty, honey, he tells Laurel.
And Jeff tells him it's the last time to play the idol. And Dominic plays the idol.
I like how they sort of worked out who's going to go first. So Dominic's like, yeah, sure, I'll go first. You're going to make some big production.
Big grand gesture or something.
Wendell downplays it. He said, no, nothing big.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So Dominic plays his idol for himself, and Wendell plays his idol for Laurel, but then goes and gives it to her, who then plays the idol for herself.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. She got to hold it for a minute, I guess.
Play it for her, but whatever.
Yeah.
So Donathan's vote for Laurel doesn't count.
Nope. But and the three for Donathan do.
Yes, they do. Actually, 4.
Bye-bye, Donathan.
He got all 4.
Yeah.
So Donathan is now out of the game. But at least it was the most wonderful experience of his life, and he enjoyed his time there.
Yeah, that was good. He seemed positive about it.
Yeah, I think so. And goodness, it must have been a relief to actually leave by then after he was so sure for so long.
For so many
I'm going. And
yeah.
Okay, going, gone.
All right, so Angela, Laurel, Dominic, and Wendell are our final 4. And Probst brings Donathan out to recap his story like he did in the previous season with some of the folks as they got voted out. So you were a fish out of water, but you adapted, and day by day we saw you gain confidence. And Donathan's like, yep, I'm breaking down walls.
I was feeling quite happy with my selection at this point.
Yeah, you were doing good on the order, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I had whiffed 2 at this point.
I hate it when that happens.
And Probst tells us that once again, Sia is so enchanted by one of the castaways, and she's touched by Donathan's focus on his family. So here's $10,000. So $10,000. Probst says he doesn't know how she'll get it to him, but somehow we'll get it done. So Donathan gets an extra $10,000 on top of his $10,000 appearance, and
good for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can use it. So he got $20,000 to go to the finale.
Yeah. Well, not quite after taxes, I'm sure, but
well, not after taxes and paying for the trip. So
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, you ready for that day 38 immunity challenge? Final 4?
I am. And Aunt Patty's in the audience.
Yeah, you saw her.
Yep.
Okay, so we got a they got to balance on a wobbly beam and stack balls. So there's like cue balls and then
a little
what do they call it? Yeah.
Like
in between each balls. Yeah, there's something
to hold it.
Yeah, so that you can actually stack them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That looked hard.
Yep.
I'm not sure how well I would have even done standing up on that thing because it was so wobbly.
Wendell made it look easy starting off. Dominic dropped. He got 3 in and dropped. And then Wendell was good at 5. Laurel dropped hers. And then Wendell was good at 6. And he came back and he loses it. All of them. Gone. And all of a sudden Angela was in the lead for a moment. Yeah. And then she dumps hers.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, Dominic is now in the lead with 3. 3's enough to be in the lead. He gets his 4th.
And then his 5th. And then Wendell gets his 4th, and he's catching up.
They tried to make it seem dramatic, but I think Dominic was too ahead that whole time.
Dominic wins.
Yep. So he's got a guaranteed spot at Final Tribal.
So now he has 3 wins to Wendell's 2.
Yep.
And he said, man, it's been 38 days of non-stop emotion.
At which point he realized that they're not done yet.
Nope, still got a lot of decisions to make.
Just no
and
point
those
for
are
relief.
his. And he went in every kind of direction too, didn't he?
Yeah, Probst tells us that that Laurel and Angela and Wendell are going to have to plead their case to Dominic at Ghost Island.
And he gives Dominic something. You have one final task.
Mm-hmm. So we were wondering, is that where he gets to remove a jury member, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but...
And had they done that, there would have not been a tie.
All right, so Ghost Island, day 38. Dominic tells us he's happy he gets to see Ghost Island, not as a victim, but as a winner.
Yeah, and he had totally secured his spot in the finale, and he's really happy. I mean, I was thinking, wow, you're in. Yep. That's it.
That part's done.
You're making your case.
Wendell tells us he feels terrible to be back at Ghost Island, and he's pretty sure Dom's not choosing him.
Yep,
to
he
sit
was
beside
realistic
him.
About that.
Yeah, but I liked his confidence. I can beat either Angela or Laurel at fire making. So
you think he could have beat Dominic?
I don't know. We don't have any basis for that.
Yeah, none. So I didn't know if either one of them could make fire, really.
Let's see. What do we have? Actually, we saw Dominic tending the fire a lot throughout the season. So I'll backtrack a little and say I didn't really see Wendell managing the fire that much. So maybe not.
I really liked that Wendell wasn't at all offended because he's like, I wouldn't take him either.
Mm-hmm. Although he said that out loud, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should have said it out loud.
No, I wouldn't have said it out loud. I'd have tried to make him feel guilty after all we've been through together and how loyal. Come on, Dom. Let's fight it out. At least to the
you want
end.
that. You want that
Let's
running in around in his head. You don't want to give him cause to go.
Yeah,
okay.
You don't want to give him any
fire
relief from his guilt.
Yes.
You want to pile it on.
So Dominic's trying to figure out who can beat him, who can beat Wendell. Is it Laurel? Yeah, I think it's Laurel. And he tells Laurel, "Hey, you got to practice because I think you're it. You're my hope to take him out." At which point she says, "I can't beat him. I didn't even practice.
No chance."
Angela's got a much better chance than me.
Don't make me fight for the finals.
And I didn't think I would sort of dislike her approach to the game more, but I did after that.
Well, I think she did exactly what she should have done. I wouldn't want to do that either. So, just I can't do it. I'm not good at it. And
here's the thing.
Angela makes fire.
You know what it means. You're a fan. You should know how to do it. You should have done it. You could have been doing it all along.
What I'm saying is maybe she did know how to do it. But why would you want to do it if you can talk the other person out of it? That the other is better.
I guess
then you have a chance
that's
to
valid.
lose.
That's valid, but I don't think that's where she was coming from necessarily.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
But if she didn't know how to do it, that's one thing. But this sounded a lot like strategy to me. And maybe a little of both.
Yeah, I'd be willing to go that direction. I think she was pretty sincere about her inability to do that.
Well, then Dom goes in and tells Angela, "You're the one.
Yeah.
Really confident in you." Says the same thing basically he said to Laurel. See which one jumps.
So
on
Angela's not completely oblivious, although I get the oblivious vibe from her a lot. She says that she's nervous, and she tells him, look, Laurel's sweet and nice, and she's a Yale graduate. She's a good talker.
And she can out-talk you in the finale.
You really sure you want to...
You're going to lose if you take her.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Her. Yeah.
I thought she and Laurel did exactly what they should be doing.
So they're both afraid to do a fire making challenge.
Well,
Angela tells us that she has learned that prior planning can prevent poor performance. I'm leaving out the part that they had to bleep her on. But I got the sneaky suspicion that she didn't have prior planning, that she wasn't that good with this. And to get further confirmation, you get a scene where Dom's coaching her on how to do the fire making, which I guess there's another data point. When I was watching what he was saying to her, that didn't seem like the best of advice, and that approach to striking that's not your best way to throw sparks. So I don't think he was like a master at doing that, for sure.
Laurel, too, was saying, but Angela's always tending the fire. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference between tending the fire.
Adding wood versus starting. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, from nothing. Yeah.
Exactly. That
she got a little coaching from Dominic. So okay, so Dominic reads his note, and so here's one more thing. You got to choose the voting urn. What did you think of this?
I thought that was a waste of time.
Yes. Yeah.
And brain power.
Yeah.
It was just dumb.
You're right. So choose.
Sorry, that's my opinion.
Choose these from these three urns where the people who chose them made poor choices, and the people they brought to them with final tribal lost.
We don't care what urn it's in. Why? I thought, it's a way to bring history back and bring up something that happened in the past, which goes with the
Colby chose poorly and gave the win to Tina.
But that's true, he did.
Wu chose poorly and gave the win to Tony.
All true.
Culpepper chose poorly and gave the win to Sarah.
Yep,
okay,
that's all
these
true.
are all people who made bad choices.
I would have just said, I'm not taking any of them.
So you have to choose one of these things that's associated with the people making bad choices and losing. Okay.
I would be telling them that you jinxed me.
Now, here's the second most interesting moment in the finale for me.
Yeah. You're talking about Dominic, talking about giving Angela the necklace.
Yeah.
And sending Angela and Laurel and going up against Wendell himself.
Right.
I thought, if you do that, I am cheering for you to lose. I am Wendell all the way.
He thinks it's the way that he can ensure that Wendell is not sitting beside him. That the true biggest threat to win is not there.
He may make the case that might have cost him the $1 million that he didn't do it. But I still would have thought he was nuts. Unless it panned out in the end, and then I said, well, okay, he made a good choice.
Bold.
I was very bold. But right at this point, I'm thinking, that's just stupid.
It seems reckless to some degree.
Word. Probably better than stupid.
Yeah, it does seem
it's
reckless.
Judgmental.
Although, if you're that confident in your skills, and even knowing that there's some variables you can't control in those scenarios. Yeah. I liked that we got that insight, and he totally surprised me with considering it.
That he would even consider it. Mm-hmm. That's what really, I was like, are you kidding me?
That's why I got to put it as like my second best moment of the finale there, is having that come up as a possibility. It's like, really? You're contemplating doing that? Wow. And I get it. I get why you're thinking it, but it's so risky to throw away being able to sit there. Well, so it made it interesting. I appreciated that. Yeah.
Well, in going into tribal council, Dominic was really aware of the theme of the season, and the bad moves can haunt you forever.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was all part of the theme, and they really pushed that hard, and now he's actually feeling it.
I guess I thought there was even a bigger chance when you saw that exchange between Dominic and Wendell right before they go to tribal council, where they shake and they're like, Wendell's he's positive he's going to a fire making challenge against one of the girls or whatever, but Dominic gets a little choked up, and I think he was still seriously considering that he might face off with him, and he might, therefore he he might surprise Wendell one more time if he were to actually do that. Okay, Tribal Council there, night 38. Donathan is all smiles as he enters and joins the jury.
He's slept and fed and feeling better. And Laurel puts it right out there, doesn't she? Dominic wants Wendell out, and Angie tends the fire, and she's the better one to do this. She's like, yeah.
Right.
So remember to take me.
Yep, Angela's not having it, though. She talks about how Laurel's such a good talker.
And it's risky to bring her.
Yep.
They're still trying.
Wendell says, no chance he brings me, and I wouldn't bring him either. That's actually when that went down there at Tribal Council.
Do you think that it was funny that Wendell really wanted to sit at the purple table, that he thought he could win if he was at the purple table, and then Jeff says, well, I'm sorry, but you'd be sitting at the orange table. It's like,
that all seems silly, but
yet I think it really did affect him.
It's essentially a placebo effect, right?
Exactly.
You believe it, and then you make it real because you believe it.
Because it makes you nervous, and and Orange Tribe always loses. And
right.
So do you think it affected Angela that she was willing to switch and she didn't care, but she didn't win then either?
She just didn't have the skill. But no, it didn't affect her. I don't think it got in her head. I think that's one advantage for her not being a huge strategic thinker is things like curses and whatever people are saying. That's not going to have a big impact on her. She's not going to spend a lot of cycles or spin her wheels thinking about it. It's not going to be a distraction for her.
Yep, and at least
it is what it is. She's got what skills she has. She doesn't care if she sits here or there.
And Laurel's in the final 3, so she's happy.
Yep, huge for her.
Okay, and they kept talking about what a breeze was blowing while they were kept blowing the fire out.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily see it as being that significant.
I was really cheering for Wendell, though.
Certainly it can affect you.
Not just for the points. But
they both get strike a spark, and they get the burn started, and both of them go out. And Angela gets a spark again, starts the fire, and it goes out.
Yep, they did that a couple times, and then Wendell gets a good one going. And that's all she wrote, folks.
Yep.
That fire just kept growing, and it did make me intense and nervous about it, though. I really wanted him to win, so. And he did. Yay. And sorry, Angela, you're out 38 days. I thought, that's painful.
Yes.
38 out of 39 when you go home. That's just, ugh.
Yep.
Though I'm sure her kids are so proud of her.
Yeah. I thought there was a chance she might quit. I certainly had her going out when we looked at her before the season started very, very early. So
oh, yeah, we thought she was first out.
The day 38 is impressive. There's a big factor being carried along for that long, too. So.
Okay, back at camp, Wendell's all teared up.
Yep. Not going to cry, emotional. Tells us.
Yeah, well, I think
Dominic says we're all deserving. You think you really believe that?
No one more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think he did.
No, but it's exactly the right thing to say.
It's the right thing to say.
Yep.
And then they have a lovely breakfast for 3 so that their brains will work at Tribal Council.
Wendell tells us he can win, and Laurel says, well, I've had this huge
saved them
growth.
Both.
Yeah, I've had this huge growth experience, and I'm the underdog, and I played from the bottom this whole way, and I worked across tribal lines. Yeah, and she tells us that she saved them multiple times. It wasn't you alone, other than maybe one occasion, but there were other people voting with you in that majority block.
Yeah, but she influenced it. Mm-hmm. It's all hers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dominic tells us, it could absolutely come down to one vote.
I wonder why Wendell, and I thought he was talking more to Dominic.
Yeah. You got to watch your tone.
You got to watch your tone in front of the jury. I thought, don't tell him that. Let him not watch his tone.
Yeah.
You watch your tone. Let him go by.
We'll see who watches their tone.
Yeah, exactly. And Dominic's still afraid of Wendell, so he knew he had reason to be.
Some work to do, yep. Absolutely. Yeah. This is where we get the title of the episode. Dominic says it's game time, kids.
It's going to be an epic tribal council, one for the ages.
Aren't they all?
Okay, final tribal.
It's a process of discovery with the jury.
who played the best game. Starting out with Kellen, what was your plan coming in, and what did you do to build your social game?
Blah, 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 and Michael interrupts.
And Laurel said, well, I aligned with the two most powerful, and I made new relationships every day, being on the outs from the beginning. And Donathan corroborated that, we had power in the game. And so they were on the outs, and they did do a lot for a while.
Michael jumped to her defense, and then he pointed out some weaknesses, too.
Well, you could have made big moves.
Yeah, Michael says, well, you were the only one that's up there that had to be on all three tribes, but putting someone in front of you isn't a big move.
Well, but Laurel...
and you dodged a big move.
Told her, I know you guys think that, but those moves did not benefit me. I was in a good spot, and those moves weren't benefiting me. And that's how she made her decisions.
I know they don't show it, and that goes on. That's a very long discussion, as we've heard in the past, but there's some real easy counters to that I hope someone like Michael brought up, which is, well, how do you think you would look if you weren't sitting there beside them, if you had taken them out and they were over here on the jury?
Well, you can tell there were a lot more things said, because it sounded kind of out of the blue when Michael just said, well, Dominic has the best social game, over even Wendell.
While Wendell was off creating.
Yeah.
But Wendell jumps into his defense and says, well, I made deep connections.
I had quality relationships.
Desi and I talked about music.
Yeah,
Kanye versus Chance the Rapper. That was deep. Desi wasn't having that, though. She said,
no.
Talking about music's not deep, so you try again. Where was it deep?
Well, she flat out said, I'm not voting for you unless you have more than that, Wendell.
I think she busted his chops on that. That was good.
So I was like, all right, well, you know where you stand with her.
When Wendell came back with some talking about how he was trying to be the mediator and protecting Dominic in the big battle between him and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I thought some of that was a legitimate response.
Yeah, and Wendell tells us he's the mastermind. Of course, they didn't seem to really buy that so much. Not all of them.
I love that Dominic said there really were no masterminds, and here's how the thing really went down with Morgan and how it really had nothing to do with me.
Well, and Dominic laughed, too, when he said it. He did one of those,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, right, Wendell.
And I like Kellen's quick survey question of the jury. It gave you some sense of, there's a pretty even split going on.
Yeah.
Who brought you into the Dominic-Wendell alliance?
How many people were in that alliance, and who brought you into
it?
Right. And I even like Donathan say, hey, I brought us into that alliance, not Laurel. So I approached Dominic and then went to get Angela. So
what do you think about Wendell's pitch about how he needed to let Dominic do the Dominic show?
Well, people get not voted for that reason.
Mm-hmm. But it seemed to work with Chris. Chris seemed to pay him a compliment and say, sometimes it makes good sense to let someone like Dominic take the heat. Yeah,
except Chris didn't vote for him. So other than that, that was a nice thing to say, but it didn't get his vote.
So at this point, what are you thinking about the temper of the jury? Are they bitter? Are they objective? Where would you score them on that scale between bitter and objective?
I don't know. I always think the jury think they're expected to, put them on the grill a little bit.
Sure.
And that even when they sound
part
like
of the
they're
format.
A little bitter, they may not be as bitter as they pretend.
Okay, so I'm going to go with
you think they're bitter.
Different route. I think there was definitely some bitterness in here, and I think you could see it
There's a little,
in the facial expressions, especially Kellen and some of the others, where they were jumping back at Wendell in some of his responses.
Well, I like that Dominic was telling them, look, we didn't really have an opportunity to take each other out. If I'd have had an opportunity, I would have taken it. But we really didn't have, in order for the two of us to stay in the game, we didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And Wendell agreed, so.
Wendell, he emphasized how he made camp life great. I didn't think that was his best move. And it did seem like he was having some tone problems with that. Like he needed people to acknowledge that he had worked to make things good for them.
Well, and Laurel tells us that she never felt like she had to win challenges to stay in the game because she had positioned herself so well socially and with her tight alliance and relationships. And I thought, okay, I appreciate that.
Michael, he's not that keen on it. He really wants to hear more about idol dynamics. How did all this come to be? And this is where you could see some of the bitterness boiling up, I think.
Well, and he did not want to hear about what Wendell built.
Camp life, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's
care
like,
what you built.
Whatever.
Don't want to hear it. Move on.
Yep.
He kind of cut him off there, too, so.
Wendell starts talking about how he managed the idols and how he ended up protecting Laurel. And Michael said, yeah, I don't... Your loyalty doesn't mean anything either. Not keen on your furniture or your loyalty.
Yep.
And then Dominic walks into it, and you could tell people were upset at this point because Dominic says, my best move was the con on Sebastian. And Dominic,
that loadout was critical.
And Dominic's good. He's sensing. He can tell that they're agitated. And he adds, yeah, it looked distasteful, I know, but here's what was really going on. But no, Sebastian's got to interrupt, and because he's we were brothers, and that was brutal. I was there playing with my heart.
Yeah, and whose name were you writing down twice?
Let's go
Dominic.
Let's go back to your final words there, hypocrite.
He just got you first.
you were stupid.
That always drives me nuts when people do that.
He's emotional, right? He's
how
fresh.
Could he possibly vote for me? You were voting for him.
Fresh off the burn. He's hurt.
See that.
Yeah. And he's gotten,
and
you could tell he's gotten
all that bling bling.
He's gotten a lot of emotional support from his fellow jury members too, because they're jumping in on it.
I played with my heart. No strategy. Well, that's not a good way to win, number one. And no, you didn't. You were putting down 2 votes for Dominic. So...
Which he owns, but he can't see past the fact that Dominic was really mean in how he went about doing it.
I didn't see that. Unless they didn't show us something. I didn't really see the mean. He rubbed it in their nose a little bit, but...
What did you think of Dominic's explanation? Do you think he did a good job in answering and defending himself? Said he had to act to sell that fake idol.
Well, and... He even asked, have I ever really been that aggressive in the game? They were like, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
Have. And so I, just saying that, I don't know. He tried to backtrack and cover it, but I'm not sure he did it to his best.
I think he read him about as good as he could. And he said, look, I get that you're hurt, but I believed you would really respect this as fan of the games.
Yes, that's the part that he did well.
Or he pulled him back in, right?
I really thought fans of the game would appreciate me playing the fake.
Seemed to work for Michael. Michael's response, brilliant. And Chris said, yeah, mutual respect for Dominic, even though we had a beef that whole time. Yeah.
Well, still, Chris, and I thought, Chris feels that way because Dominic was afraid of Chris and therefore voted him out because he was afraid of him, and that was a compliment.
Got rid of the threat.
To me.
Sure.
Yep, pretty much. I think
that's good jury management when you can pick up on that and feed it.
So we have mutual respect.
You go back to Todd and China and how well he managed them.
And he did that beautifully.
Yep.
Well,
okay, outlast time. Yep.
Says she understands you guys think that she should have taken him out, but again, not the best move for me. Wendell saved me because of the loyalty we had. Now, I'm not sure she should have added that because that sounded like, she wasn't driving her own bus. So I'm not sure I'd have added that last part.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Dominic's done explaining himself. He said, yes, I speak with confidence, but, I had...
And I understand
and that can be intimidating. Yeah.
But I'm not arrogant.
And I had 3 individual immunity wins.
And I'm proud of what I did, which he should be. He played a good game.
Proud of his game. And, it's true, I don't make nice furniture. He got a little dig on Wendell in there, right?
I wasn't sure Wendell, what he had to say was all that.
No, he didn't.
It was like,
it He didn't have a strong finish, that's for sure.
No. You bring me out here, and thank you
for bringing me, or thanks
for bringing me out here. And I made strategic moves, and I thought
they didn't. I don't know, the way you thanked them didn't make any sense.
No, it felt a little bit off. To me.
It had a try-hard vibe to it that was a complete fail.
All right, we're back in the audience with Probst and Samantha.
Okay, so if he's going to go in the audience, if he limits it to one person like that, and it's a little kid.
Little girl.
And so.
The last little girl got it right. No pressure.
Ava got it right. Yeah, I like that. So that was. I'm okay with this one. That's fine. It's a little throwaway moment.
It was quick. Didn't take long.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it necessary? Nah. But it was okay.
All right, so we get to see a couple of the votes. We see that Michael votes for Dominic and Chris votes for Dominic, and then we see Sebastian and Kellen vote for Wendell.
Okay, were you shocked when Probst came back and said, I'm reading the votes?
I was right with Michael. Michael said, no, he's just kidding. He's not going to do that.
Psych.
He's having fun with us. But then he started reading the vote. So, that was a surprise.
Oh, my goodness, what is going on here? That's when I started saying, it's going to be a tie. It's going to be a tie. Laurel's going to have to decide.
Yeah. Yep.
That was
them
exciting.
Off. 1, 2, 3 for each one. Okay.
Oh, man.
It's a 5-5 tie, which means,
You and I did talk about that, and I did think that she would choose Wendell over Dominic.
They've been telling us that she was choosing Wendell over Dominic. Even though she would share things with Dominic, you could tell there was from the social connection level, which she's telling us that she values so much, that the connection was always deeper with Wendell.
And, of course, we always knew that he wasn't going to read her vote till the reunion show. So.
Yeah. Okay, so Laurel Probst tells us at this point she becomes the 11th and final member of the jury to cast that vote. And
she got zip.
Yeah.
In votes. Yikes.
Yeah, so on top of the insult of no votes, you've got to go, you have to be the sole person to give it away.
Well, at least you have some control over the game.
Okay.
You get who wins the money.
I don't think at that point you're like, when you're still reeling from the fact that you
would be hard.
Didn't even come close, that they didn't honor you at all.
But Laurel, Dominic's wife, is going to kill him if he doesn't bring him.
Right.
After all that time away from her.
She tells us it's an impossible, difficult decision.
Yeah.
But the social game won her over.
I know that it would be.
No, it's not. She went and made the decision. It wasn't impossible. Difficult,
it's not
sure.
impossible, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
So, okay, reunion show. And the winner is Wendell. Yay!
Yay. I did get that part right.
Yes, you did.
Yep.
You got Dominic and Wendell's places right, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I think I had Sebastian as third. Yeah. I figured they were going to bro it out at the end and dump Laurel.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
But you got them all, right?
I did. Yeah. I was just
That's the correct order.
Wow. How did that happen?
Yep. We'll come back and we'll talk about scoring in just a minute.
All righty. So the votes for Dominic were from Chris, Libby, Desi, Jenna, and Michael. And Wendell got votes from Sebastian, Donathan, Angie, Chelsea, and Kellen. How about that?
And then one from Laurel.
and the big one from Laurel.
Right. And Dominic's second guessing himself. And he tells us he has been for a while. He's thinking that he probably should have gone head-to-head in fire making with Wendell. I should have done this. So he could have eliminated him.
And he's the kind of person that's going to bug forever. I bet you he plays again. He's just going to bug them till they let him play again.
Yeah, so he said he played with fear in the beginning, which I guess that works because Kellen was talking about how paranoid he was. So, yeah, all right, so that fits. But then he got overconfident at the end. That's his assessment.
Well, Laurel tells us that they're both very deserving, but that she felt Wendell's social game and their personal relationship were stronger. Yeah,
so he made a deep connection with her, evidently, right?
And the loyalty to her paid off in the end.
Yep, I guess so.
He gave her an idol and saved her. Well, Dominic, he took her to the final two, so it's like,
she had debts either way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
we briefly touch in with a few people. Yeah, because at this minute, they're 30 minutes into the reunion show at this point. Right?
Yep. And they present Dominic with that lovely photo of him and Wendell where he's looking up
good.
adoringly.
Yeah, that was good. I think I saw them recreating that at a bar from one of the shots.
Well, it did stand out even in the show. That was such the look, and the way he was looking up at it.
Yeah.
It did. Reminded me of an adoring puppy going, "Oh, I love you. Can he have more treats?" So, okay.
So he takes a moment to talk to Michael. Yep, you're awfully mature, and hey, more
Ran with an older
18-year-olds,
crowd, graduated early. Yep. Took off, showed the family. Hello, y'all.
Talks to Chris for a minute. Talks about how he and Dominic buried the hatchet, and they went on an MS walk together.
And Jeff tells us again, I owe Eric and James an apology. And
what did you think about James describing his feelings?
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit.
Made it hard to watch, and he hadn't been able to watch the show.
Yeah, he didn't watch the show.
After being called dumb so much for making that.
Yeah, I'm sorry that bothered him that much. I wouldn't have thought that about him, but yeah, I know.
And Eric says that it's human to fail, and he's got to end up laughing about it at some point. Otherwise, you'd spend all your time crying.
Well, and, I'm sure he was thinking, great, they're going to show that clip one more time.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff.
And even Probst highlights the fact that Parvati said it was the dumbest move. So.
Ed Parvati said.
Okay, so where was the apology?
There wasn't one. There was
no clear apology. He acknowledged that that James had found two idols. And he says, I had overlooked that. Is that an apology?
No. And he acknowledged that Eric had made it to Final Five twice.
Right.
So he acknowledged something else about them, but I never once heard, and I'm sorry I called you all those dumb moves, and I'm sorry I said that.
Sorry,
That's
we keep doing this. Or something.
Something.
Right.
Sorry about
something. There was no apology.
There was no apology. So.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about that?
And I'm sure his wife would tell him that.
What do you think about the idea of the show running 30 minutes into the reunion block?
I don't really care, because a lot of the reunion shows in the recent past have not people have complained about anyway.
Right.
So I'd rather see more of what was going on in the actual show anyway.
And just take
that was okay with me.
Take 15 minutes to wrap up.
They weren't going to talk
reunion. Right, they weren't going to talk to everyone.
What did we figure out? They talked to 5 people, and then I think they added Kellen or something after. And they didn't talk to much of anybody, just a few people. They didn't even talk to Angela, and she was 4th place.
Yeah.
It's like 4th place, Jeff. 4th place. And you didn't say a word to her. But that happened to Eric, too, when he was in the season. So,
well, he didn't, I don't know if he parted on really good terms with him either.
Eric was sick and got evacuated, and Jeff never spoke to him at that I remember.
Yeah.
At the reunion show. He didn't even bring it up. How you doing?
Right.
Nothing.
So I guess if he was going to bungle the reunion show that much, having less of the bungling,
that's better.
Is preferred.
Yeah, I'd rather see more action about what really went on.
Yeah, take more time.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
So see a little bit of reunion.
Okay, so we got a brief look at season 37, underdogs versus the favorites. It sounds like haves versus have-nots. It sounds like Fiji a little, which is unsettling. Mm-hmm. But they're going to pitch it as David versus Goliath, and it's another 20-person season.
Yeah,
20 underdogs versus 20 people who
that are in the top of their field.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah. Some of those looked really harsh.
So I'm just going to have to put that to the side. I think that's where I am on that right now.
Yeah,
I didn't get excited about that at all.
No.
So I'll let the excitement build over the summer. How's that?
Yeah, and it's still Survivor, and we'll be happy that it comes back, even if we don't like the theme again. I usually tend to just try to ignore those as much as possible and just, get into the people and you either like or you don't like or whatever, and forget about the theme.
Yeah, you can try, but they'll beat you over the head with it
I know,
all season
and they
long.
do,
And they
I
do that
just
to the
keep
castaways
ignoring
too, right? So,
Yes, they do.
yeah.
And then I love Kevin Hart as much as anyone, but did I need to see his little clip for his show? Not
After
so much.
having this commercial for it where they
Yep,
explained
yep,
all that
yep.
5, 6, 7, 8 times, whenever it was. Yeah, whatever. You know what I was happy about is they put it at the end. So thanks for that. All right. What's your overall sense of the finale, your overall take on it?
Well, I enjoyed it probably more than you because I got
You got
I got
full
more points than
Yeah,
you did.
We're about to do the JSFL update.
And
so.
usually you just, cut me off at the knees during the finale with the point situation.
Not
but
this time, huh?
Not this time.
Yeah.
So
Congrats.
that alone made me a little more happy.
Good job.
So
But in terms of the finale and then the
Yeah, it was okay with
challenges
me.
and how it
Yep,
played out and
yep.
the winner,
I
you're
was
good with
good with
Wendell?
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I was very happy with Wendell winning. That actually was probably my best case scenario.
All right. How about a JSFL update?
I can
Who
do
else
that.
is happy that Wendell won?
Okay. We have a tie.
How fitting.
Yes. Ian in California and Nans in Ohio tied with 132 points.
All right.
Congratulations.
Good job. They're our Dominic and Wendell of the JSFL season.
That's right. For the side challengers, our winner is, ding, 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 Jeremiah.
Oh, he did make it.
126 points.
All right. He must have stuck with Wendell for the win.
With 114 points, we have JKindred, 113, Jonathan, 95, ColdMike, with 93 points. KittyCat, good job.
Oh, wow.
90
That's a
points.
surprise from
Well,
the very bottom. All
She
the way
said
up,
she
right?
was warming up her caterwauling.
Yeah.
And I told her I predicted she would not come in the bottom. So, okay. With 90 points, James-n-Shannon. With 88 points, Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
With 76, Brandon.
Whoa.
With 61 points,
Uh-huh.
Parker.
Yeah. And
With 52 points,
Woo.
the loser of this season's side challenge is Randy.
Randy. All right. Wow. So Jeremiah will be picking out a tune, and Randy will create a parody version of that song with lyrics representing the events from this season. All right. So Jeremiah will be looking forward to hearing what song that you've chosen for Randy to perform for us.
If you can get that to us before the listener feedback show, that would be awesome.
Great. We'll make sure to reach out.
Yep, we will. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to hearing what you thought about the finale and that truncated reunion show. I think that's probably a good way to describe it, that little stub of a reunion. And your overall take on the season. What did you think about the that huge maze? What did you think about the tie? Looking forward to getting your thoughts, your insights. What do you think about season 37, the little bit that we know about it right now? I know some of that cast has been leaking out over the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
I knew there was a WWE wrestler that's in there on the Goliath side.
I saw that too, but
Yeah. So we're looking forward to hearing you, and we would love to have you be a part of the last listener feedback show. Come be part of this amazing cast that we have at Survivor Fans Podcast listener feedback shows. Share your thoughts. You can call the voicemail line 206-350-1547. Toll-free number 844-643-8737. We got an email. You can record your own and send it in as an attachment to Joanne and Stacy Show at gmail.com. If you're not comfortable with your voice, that's okay. Write it up, send it in an email, and either Joanne or I will read it into the show for you. I'm excited. Looking forward to listener feedback. Looking forward to seeing what other people thought. Do you think that this finale redeemed the season for you? I know a lot of people were disappointed in how it had gone a little flat. So I'm looking forward to hearing if this really picked it back up or not.
absolutely.
And where it's going to fit in your overall ratings and rankings of the 36 seasons that we've had so far? Is this going to make your top 18 or your bottom 18 or your top 5 or your bottom 5?
I don't do none of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. You have trouble with that.
I don't want to.
We're looking forward to hearing you. The feedback's due Saturday, noon, Pacific time. Whether you're writing it or calling or recording it yourself, keep it in that 3-minute range. That way we can give everybody time and I can get done at some point on Saturday. The further you go over the 3-minute mark, the more time I have to spend working on it. So just please keep that in mind.
No 12 minutes.
I love hearing from all of you, but some folks have been sending in 6 minutes, 8 minutes, that kind of stuff. It's hard, to work through all that. I try to pick your best out, and don't worry about getting it perfect or anything like that. Some folks are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and you may have ums and ahs and buts.
You can fix that.
I fix that quick, and if you're not sure what to say, it's okay to be quiet and pause and collect your thoughts, because I take that out in a snap. I've got some scripts, some macros. I automatically delete long silences. So if you're contemplating your next words, that's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's when I tend to go,
Yeah,
but you try to teach me to stop talking.
Hard to get those out of our longer shows because it's such a big process. Like we're an hour and 22 minutes, plus it'll shrink because there are pauses here that I'll delete. But, we're well over an hour into this one. But for the 3-minute ones for listener feedback, those are really easy for me to do. So don't sweat that. I'm happy to do it, and I can do a lot of that really quickly and automatically.
I'm sorry when I do that to you, honey. And
that's okay.
Thank you for cleaning it up.
Yeah, I don't get them all for us. That's what I was saying. I do it too. And we all do filler words. It can be challenging, like BrandonA was saying, when you realize I'm using the word like every other word because I'm struggling to express myself because I'm so frustrated.
I didn't used to hear it. Now I hear it because when you point it out, then I hear it.
When we're watching the extra videos, I find there's some people who are very difficult to listen to.
Oh, yeah, it drives you nuts. So that makes me more conscious.
More aware of it. Yeah,
he just said like 20 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I can't hear anything but the likes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, hopefully I didn't make people self-conscious. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Come be a part of the listener feedback show, the last one before we head out on summer hiatus.
All right, good night, everybody.
Have a good one.